Okay, post-walk, we're gonna make a little dinner. Today we're gonna make a healthy version of chicken and dumplings using shredded rotisserie chicken, a mirepoix, which is onions, carrots, and celery. And then we're gonna use some unsalted chicken stock. If we wanna make it a little thicker, you can use a little cornstarch. Clearly it doesn't have a ton of calories and it'll still give you the desired effect. Some fresh parsley and some frozen dumplings. So let me show you what those look like, just so that don't judge the situation in here. We had a frost over situation because our daughter left the freezer open. Where are these? Oh, here they are. Dumplings, Mary Hill dumplings. So you can have, let's see, 5 pieces for 29 carbohydrates and 140 calories. So, sorry, not paying attention. 5 pieces for 140 calories. So with the chicken and chicken stock and vegetables. So with the chicken stock, vegetables, and dumplings, should be about 300 calories. I like doing this because you can control the, sorry, these lights are really messing with the video here. I like this because you can control the fat content in it. And I get unsalted chicken stock because obviously you don't want it to get too salty. A rotisserie chicken tends to have its own seasoning. If you want to get fancy, you can put a bay leaf in there, put whatever herbs you want in there, do your thing, chicken wing. But this is what we're going to have tonight. We're going to stir all this up. Just kind of let it melt down, meaning let the vegetables get nice and soft. Turn this down a little bit so they can get a little bit softer. Then we will add in the chicken stock and make a slurry. Have you ever heard of a slurry? If not, stay tuned and I'll show you what that is. Okay, so now I'm going to put in my chicken stock. We're going to put the whole thing in. So this is 32 ounces. And I like my chicken and dumplings a little brothier, but we'll make that slurry too. And the important part is when you use cornstarch to thicken things up, you want to make sure that whatever liquid you use is cold. And the reason why is because it'll turn into like dough. So basically, like flour, you know how you heat flour up to thin it out? You use cold substances to make sure that your cornstarch doesn't get clumpy. Just poured that bad boy in. This is definitely a hack. You certainly could put whatever stock you want. If you don't want there to be too much chicken, because it could be, I don't know, people have different needs. So you could use vegetable stock if you want to. I use chicken stock. And so you'll see this is like halfway done. This will be good. And I'll turn the heat up a little bit right here so that we get a good boil on that. And then I will show you how to make that slurry. Okay, so for a slurry, I use cornstarch. It's Argo. I use cornstarch. It's Argo. I hate editing, so you guys are gonna have to bear with me. I am terrible about measuring, so I will use, we'll say, a little over a tablespoon. And so what you do is you pour your cold liquid, whatever kind you're pouring, however much you want. So if you're making a sauce, probably not this much liquid. And then you just literally stir this up, all of this cornstarch up into the cold liquid. And it may not look thick here because it needs heat to activate it to make it thicker. So I would say this is, what is this, a cup? Probably. Let's look around. Oh, look at that. Yep, it's a cup. So a cup and approximately a tablespoon, and maybe we'll say a half of cornstarch. That'll be good enough for me for this entire pot because I want to make sure it's a little bit thinner. Now, if you like yours super thick, get in there, you know, do 2 tablespoons or maybe even 3, depending on what your preferences are. I'm using the chicken stock because I don't want to put water in it. Unsalted, of course, because as we remember, the rotisserie chicken already has salt in it. And I'm a big believer in, you can put things in, but it's really hard to take them out. So I'd rather something be a little unsalted versus overly done, and then it ruins the whole thing. So I tend to add salts closer towards the end of a dish, so that I can control that. Okay, slurry going in, and you'll see it's a little bit murky, and we got it all. That's great. And so if I turn the heat up now, it'll start activating the cornstarch and it will get thicker. So we'll come back when it's a little bit thicker so it makes sense. You can see it. In the interim, we're gonna get our dumplings out, and I've never bought this before. I've always made my own dumplings, so this was nice to not, sorry, I'm like going off camera. This is nice to not have to make it, but it's great because it looks like it's done in little sheets. So I'm going to pull out a couple sheets and let them sort of defrost. The good thing about these dumplings is my grandmother made these when I was growing up, and they take literally 30 seconds to cook, which is great. So they should go in at the very end. Okay, we're back, and you can see before it was much thinner and now it's a little bit thicker. I did add 2 more tablespoons of cornstarch because I wanted it to be a little bit thicker than the 1.5 tablespoon gave. So, and again, this is going to be a pretty big pot because I'm putting the rest of the 32-ounce unsalted chicken stock in here. So this would probably be really good with bone broth too. So if you're one of those that really want bone broth, certainly you can add that too. And you can see as it gets hotter, it'll start thickening up even more. That's the power of cornstarch, which is nice. And it doesn't add a ton of calories. So I realized these Mary Hill dumplings are like, I guess, so it's 5 of these. So when I was growing up, my grandmother made them into squares. So I'm gonna cut these. Oh, that was terrible. I didn't do a great job there, but I'm gonna cut these because I would rather them be like, you know, like little squares, because it would be hard to eat. Like it would be like a big fat noodle, and I'm not really into that. So I'll go ahead and cut the rest of these to get them queued up for the end. Now you can even tell even more. It's definitely got a thicker consistency. I'm gonna put the rest of our chicken stock in and then add in some parsley. And this will be good for the rest of the week, or, you know, if you get sick of this, then obviously you could freeze it because it's basically a soup. And you can see that I thinned it out, but it'll get thicker again. I'm telling you, a little cornstarch goes a long way, so don't get crazy with the cornstarch. These, since I've never used them, I've pulled them out and I've cut them, and I'm letting these here defrost here a little bit. Pay no attention to this. Whenever I cut an onion, if I have chicken, I tend to make chicken salad at the same time because I use celery and onions to make a mirepoix along with carrots. Obviously not putting carrots in the chicken salad. I guess you could if you really wanted to, but I don't. I'll take the other part of my rotisserie and make chicken salad. The last part is I put a little bit of lemon in my dumplings and in my chicken salad. I really like lemon. I think it's a really great way to add flavor without adding in salt, which is great. So little lemon zest isn't bad too if you like the lemon flavor. I put the zest in my chicken salad, and then of course the liquid itself, and then I put a little bit in my chicken and dumplings. It just freshens it up. It just, you know, makes it a little more, I don't know, like awake. The best way to put it is awake. Okay, so for lemons, my daughter has cut this one, so I won't do this. But if you have a really hard lemon, or really any lemon, but if your lemon is hard and you're like, oh God, how am I ever gonna get any juice out of it? You can put it in the microwave for like 10 seconds. And hopefully you know to like put it on the counter and roll it so that you break up all of the membranes inside and it turns to juice. So it makes it easier to get it out. And then fancy dancy zester. We're gonna start using this. So I zest, of course, before I juice the lemon, because you don't want to. And then this on the side, just tap it and it gets the most of it off. Same here for our chicken salad. This is the other part of the rotisserie chicken. I'm just going to put in some lemon zest. So I try to make that a little bit more than one thing at a time, because my family and I myself get sick. Now I like a lot of lemon zest in my chicken salad, so if you don't, of course you can pull back on it, but I like that. It just makes it wake up. I don't know if you guys can see that. So that's about half a teaspoon probably. And then when you're done with this, don't throw it away. Put it down your garbage disposal. So after you're done juicing it, lemons are great. Like, I always see people throw them away and I go, no, it's so great for your garbage disposal. So if you have a stinky garbage disposal and you have a lemon that you've cooked with, definitely put it down that disposal and turn it on. Even let it sit there a little bit, not days and days, obviously, and then come back and rinse it out. It will smell good. And now we're putting in some chopped onions. Probably should have made these a little bit smaller, but it's fine. And then I have enough chopped onion for something else this week, so I think we're gonna make nachos, and that's enough for a pound of ground hamburger meat. So everything has a purpose. Okay, just showing that I added the rest of my stock, and now this is the perfect, what I would consider the perfect consistency. Now as it cooks down, of course it'll get thicker, and then of course I'll taste just to make sure that it doesn't need any salt or pepper, and then we need to put in our parsley. We didn't do that yet. Okay, now we're gonna use some fresh parsley. So here's my theory on parsley and leaves versus stems. I think a lot of people go, oh, you should only eat the leaves. And I would say the stems are the juiciest part because it has the water consistency in it. So I usually just chop them all up right in the soup or whatever I'm cooking because it tastes good. Hold on, let me position you. Again, I hate to edit, so here we are. I've noticed, like, if you are a cilantro lover, if you're not, totally understandable. If it tastes like soap to you, there's something for everybody. If you have that gene and you don't like cilantro because of that, my condolences. But anyway, I just cut it all up. But I find that cilantro the stems taste better than the actual leaves. Like, they're delicious. So I usually just chop it all up in it. I mean, what's the difference? You eat chives that are like this. Like, if this was a chive, you would eat it. You know, so I don't know. Just adds more flavor. It's not going to be bad, that's for sure. Now, the very ends I probably won't use, but up until then. I don't know who made up the theory that you only have to eat the leaves, but I'm not a fan. All right, we're going to throw the ends away. I know.
Did you purposely say that?
Yeah, because some people are like, oh, cilantro, I only eat the leaves. But anyway, we just got our parsley in there, and that just gives it a little more depth of flavor. I didn't put any garlic in here. I think garlic changes the whole profile of, chicken and dumplings. Although, I guess you could put a little bit of powder if you want to. Again, I use powders instead of salts. Don't want it to be too salty. And I like things to have flavor, by the way, but as I said earlier, you can put things in, you can't take it out. It's really difficult. So I'm gonna let this cook for a little bit longer, and then we'll add in our dumplings. Okay, so now we have rotisserie chicken, celery, onions, whatever your jam is to put in here, and then I have my lemon zest in there, and now I'm gonna turn my lemon upside down, opposite end, like this, and get as much juice as I can out of this. Now, I'm not a big fan of mayonnaise, which is why I cut it with lemon. sometimes I'll use Greek yogurt. My wife doesn't like that, so I try not to do that as much because she'll notice, and she's not a big fan of Greek yogurt. Or I'll just use less mayonnaise, you know, but not so it's dry because that's horrible. Nobody wants dry chicken salad. That's like getting a salad with no dressing. Ugh, who wants that? Because this was like, looks like a lemon and a half. I'll put a little more lemon juice in it. Again, this is to taste how you like it. So I would say this is probably a 1/4 cup of lemon juice if I had to guesstimate. And then I use Duke's. You can use light, you can use whatever you want to create your base. So you can make your base separate. You could put lemon in it, you could put herbs in it, whatever you want for your chicken salad. I just kind of spoon it in and then just mix salt and pepper if needed. And then again, over here in our chicken and dumplings, just to brighten it up a little bit. Doesn't need a lot of juice, but just a little bit, because I like it to be a little lively, as I said. Turn this over. I do love a lemon. So I have a lemon tree outside, and we had a great harvest this year, which was fantastic, but we haven't had anything else grow, so I'm a little worried. A little bit of pulp fell in, not a big deal. I think it'll be good. And then I'll use the rest of this and put it in the garbage disposal. Okay, same theory in the parsley. So just gonna cut it to fall into the chicken salad here. That's a good thing about parsley. It's like not a really invasive herb where it's like, you know, something like cilantro where it is robust in flavor, and if you're not a fan, that's not good. So, but parsley is aesthetically pleasing, but it tastes good too. It has a nice mild flavor to it. I used white onion. You could use green onion. I've used green onion too. I use whatever's in the house or whatever's in season. And I clearly don't like to waste things. So if you're making one thing, you might as well make 2 things, because it doesn't take much more time, in my opinion, especially if you have a rotisserie chicken. They've already done a lot of the work for you. I take it home and I debone it right away. Or sometimes we'll eat and then I'll debone it before I put it in the fridge. It's actually, believe it or not, it's actually easier when it's colder, to be honest with you. So I probably should revisit that process, but sometimes it's about being efficient and getting things done. All right, not everybody loves stems and it's not soup, so I won't cut them all in. Okay, she's looking pretty. Nice. Parsley, carrots, onions, celery, and it's the right consistency. And then we have all of our dumplings over here, all nice and cut, and these are thinner than I remember. My grandmother didn't roll them this thin, but it's nice that they are. I may never actually have to do that again. Oh, we have a runaway parsley stem. All right, let's get these this show on the road and get those in there. Okay, everybody in the pool, what they say. And then I'll show everybody what it looks like in the end. So we use no butter, we use olive oil, a rotisserie chicken, no fat on the chicken itself, within itself. All vegetables, a unsalted chicken stock. Make sure that these are not sticking to each other, otherwise it'll turn into a glob. Nobody wants a glob of dough, so make sure that they have their own space when you're throwing them in there. And I don't know why she's yelling. No one's talking to her.
Nobody's calling you.
And just for, you can see, oh, these two started sticking so a little bit. So if they have their own space, it does make it easier. And then I'll continue to add the rest in. Maybe turn the heat up a little bit because these cook really fast. And these are all, and these will be done in a minute. Okay, so now we're doing a little pepper, a little salt. I like fresh black pepper. Looks like this thing is just not working for me, but there it goes. Since we're about done, you can see all the dumplings are just working their magic, doing their thing. And since I've never used these, this is kind of interesting. But yeah, you can see this turned out to be really great. And we'll see. I'll put it in a bowl and show you what it looks like in the end. I'll give you a little rundown of what it tastes like. Looks good though. Okay, so now we're going to put in probably about a tablespoon of our Duke's mayonnaise. Again, I'm not a huge fan of a lot of mayonnaise, so maybe about 2.5 tablespoons. And then mix it around. And then we have chicken and dumplings, and we also have chicken salad for the rest of the week. I'm sure we could have made this healthier by putting in like light sour cream or yogurt, but my wife doesn't like Greek yogurt and chicken salad, so, and I'd like to stay married. There it is. But I would tell you, rotisserie chicken for chicken salad, it makes the best chicken salad you've ever had. It's, yeah, I'm sure if you've got it from the deli, it's good. But when you do it at home, I don't know what it is. It's so much better. And this was just enough, and I'll show you in a minute. Like, that was plenty of mayonnaise in my world. You know, like, everybody's got their preferences. But in my world, that was enough mayonnaise. Just keep stirring until your heart's happy. Oh, carrots. Hold on. Okay. So, that's plenty of mayonnaise to me. Of course, things are always better the next day. At least I think things are better the next day. So the onion will permeate. You know, things will kind of marry overnight. So we got lemon zest in here, a little lemon juice, fresh parsley, onions, and celery. Great thing about this recipe is you can make whatever you want in it. When it's summer or spring, no, not summer or spring, but you could do it now if you wanted, because apples are really a fall thing. But I remember my grandmother doing this during spring and summer, putting apples in either potato salad or chicken salad. Put grapes in here, whatever your jam is. Over here.
Did you put apples in there?
No, I didn't put apples in here, but you can.
Bite?
You want to bite?
Are you done stirring?
I'm done stirring, so you can actually bite off of this spoon. I didn't put any pepper in here or any salt, but this probably doesn't need too much. Why don't you, let's try it without first. Let's do pepper, no salt first. You know, the whole theory of you can put it in, you can't take it out, but you can put it in. Once it's too salty, that's it. It's over. That thing is going to be, I think that thing needs to retire. It doesn't seem to be doing great. I need to look at it. Okay. What do you think? Is that good? Oh, you're dancing, so that must be okay. I think I got an approval. All right, taste tester, what do you think?
It was delicious.
It was delicious. Did it need salt or pepper?
I mean, it needs a little salt, but
yeah, not a lot. Okay. And this is it in the end. Of course, I don't want to put the spoon in here because she just ate off of it. But yeah, it's really good, and it'll be good in the fridge for 3 or 4 days. It's finished, and I prefer things to be a little thinner. So of course you can use cornstarch at will, meaning make it thicker if you want to, but this is perfect for me. I think when I do this again, I'll make I'll cut these dumplings a little bit smaller, but the fact that I've never used them before, I wasn't sure. Of course, you can cut it with your spoon. But when I tell you the flavor